From the Charles River in between Boston and Cambridge, this is the Ivy League Digital Network. And today we have a lightweight rowing doubleheader. We'll start with the Harvard Radcliffe women. 2 races, first to second varsity race, and then the first varsity race against MIT and BU. And then we'll follow things up with the Harvard men's lightweight team taking on Dartmouth and MIT throughout the day. Bill Spalding, glad to be with you. We start with the second varsity race. Harvard Radcliffe has second varsity and third varsity racing in this race. MIT and BU both have their second varsity teams. We'll run you through the lineups. The Radcliffe 3V will be at the top of your picture, then the MIT boat, the BU boat, and then the Radcliffe 2V will be at the bottom of your picture. Here are the lineups. We'll start with Harvard Radcliffe, 2-1 on the season at the varsity 8 level, and coming off a weekend at the Neck Cup where they took on a lot of the top competition in the country. The 3V roster looks like this. Senior Maria Stoika is the Cox. Tessa Buchanan, a sophomore, is the stroke. Sarah Langen, sophomore, is in seat 7. Ellie Bernstein in seat 6. Seat 5, Allison Oliva. Seat number 4 is junior Gretchen Doherty. Then it's senior Margaret Irwin in seat 3, freshman Gina Cusing in seat 2, and sophomore Fiona Fitzgerald is the bow for the third varsity boat for the Radcliffe Black and White. The second varsity lineup looks like this. The coxswain is junior Electra Lang. The stroke is junior Julia Baumel. Freshman Maria Boyle sits in seat number 7. Seat 6 belongs to freshman Julia Henry. Senior Ruby Emberling is in seat number 5. Then freshman Molly Lesser in seat number 4, junior Michaela Sandler in seat number 3, sophomore Julia Davis in seat 2. The bow belongs to sophomore Belle Evans. Lineup for Boston University, ranked number 2 in the country at varsity 8. They send out a second varsity boat that looks like this. The coxswain is Elizabeth Wu. Senior Mariah Ippolito is the stroke. Freshman Michelle Seo is in seat 7. Sophomore Samantha Wapner in seat 6. Freshman Peyton Lancaster sits in seat 5. Then it's junior Megan St. Martin in seat 4. Kate Parker sits in seat 3. Freshman Gabby Hebden Pearl in seat 2. The bow belongs to Frances Hausman for Boston University as they are off and running here in the second varsity race. First of 2 lightweight women's races today on the Ivy League Digital Network. The lineup for MIT looks like this at second varsity 8. MIT is coxed by Priyanka Toddy. Frances Parker Hale is the stroke. Seat 7 is Valerie Hunter. Seat 6, Eileen Hu. Lucy Mild at seat 5. Seat 4, Hannah Thell. Ann Kelly is in seat 3. Seat 2, Rachel Osmundson. And seat 1, Sophie Blackburn. Good start for Radcliffe and BU. The Radcliffe 2V and the BU 2V out in front a bit. And then it's the MIT 2V and the Radcliffe 3V at the top of your picture, battling it out for third place. Perfect conditions for rowing today at a mid-April day in Cambridge. Temperature in the mid-40s and rising. The wind was only at 4 miles an hour when we got on the boat, and it's as glassy and flat as could be here on the Charles River. About a minute in with BU and Radcliffe still battling. Radcliffe looks to have the early lead at the bottom of your picture. Radcliffe enters at the varsity 8 level ranked 5th. BU ranked 2nd at the varsity 8 level. This is the 2V race with Radcliffe still just ahead of Boston University for first. Then it's MIT ahead of Radcliffe's third varsity boat for third place. MIT's lightweight team off to a good start this season as well. They fared well at the Neck Cup last weekend in duels. They're 1-0 this season. BU was 2nd at the Neck Cup last week, finishing just behind Stanford. And of course, last year the Terriers won the Beanpot. They won the Eastern Sprints, and they were the national runners-up at the IRAs. Really strong start, though, for the Radcliffe second varsity boat. This boat has a good mix of youth and experience. A couple of freshmen, Maria Boyle, Julia Henry, and Molly Lesser. But then you have a senior in Ruby Emberling, 2 juniors, 2 sophomores to make up this second varsity grouping for Harvard Radcliffe. And it's a good chance for the third varsity to test its mettle against second varsity boats as well. Right now, third varsity for Radcliffe, just a couple seats behind MIT's third varsity. Looking like open water for Radcliffe's second varsity ahead of BU. A dominant start unofficially through the first 2.5 minutes for Radcliffe. Closing in on the 1,000-meter mark. Good tempo so far today. Very light wind. These are the conditions you dream of when you paddle through some cold, windy opening weekends in northeastern rowing. For Boston University, 2 freshmen in this second varsity group, along with 1 senior, 3 sophomores, 2 juniors. When you get to the first varsity, experienced groups all around, especially for BU. Radcliffe's lead is growing. Unofficial time of 3:15 as they hit the 1,000-meter split halfway through this 2,000-meter race on the Charles. Radcliffe open water back to BU, and now Radcliffe's third varsity has moved out in front of MIT's by a couple of seats. It's the MIT second varsity, the Radcliffe third varsity just in front, looking to pick up a great result as well. Radcliffe has a much larger roster than most teams in lightweight rowing, so part of the reason why Radcliffe has the ability to send out this extra third varsity boat, and MIT and BU just sending out 2 boats today. Under the bridge we go. Beautiful weekend approaching Patriots Day on Monday and Marathon Monday just a couple days away as well. Radcliffe first varsity boat is off to our left, yelling loudly for the second varsity as they have a big lead over BU. This is the 4th event of the season for Harvard Radcliffe. They took on Georgetown early in the year. They took on Simmons in BC, and then just recently the Next Cup last weekend. Always one of the top events in the women's lightweight rowing schedule. All the top teams from around the country converge for the Next Cup. Through about 4 minutes and 38 seconds unofficially, Radcliffe's lead continues to grow. A couple of lengths back to Boston University's number 2 boat. Now about a 6-seat lead for Radcliffe's third varsity over MIT's second varsity. Go past the MIT boathouse here. This is sometimes where MIT can get a bit of a lift from their parents and fans who stand on the balcony overlooking the race course. 500 meters to go for the Radcliffe 2V. They've led from very early on, separating in the first few strokes and continuing to grow their lead. Cox and Electra Lang has had them in a good rhythm so far, stroked by Julia Baumel. Boy, this is a great performance from the second varsity boat. Now about a 3-length lead back to BU, and Radcliffe's third varsity has all 8 seats on MIT, and they're closing in on possibly picking up open water ahead of MIT's second varsity boat. Gone for about 5 minutes and 45 seconds. About 250 to 300 meters to go for the Radcliffe second varsity boat, looking to really set the tempo for what could be a great day heading into the Beanpot and Murray Cup first varsity race, which is coming up. Past the 6-minute mark. Radcliffe's lead is closing in on 4 lengths at this point ahead of Boston University. Radcliffe's third varsity boat now has some open water back to MIT's second varsity. This is just how you would have drawn it up if you're wearing black and white today. Radcliffe closing things down. A few strokes to go as they approach the fan area and the finishing flag. Now that was dominant. Really not in doubt from about 500 meters in. Lead just grew and grew and grew. And here goes the Harvard Radcliffe second varsity boat right for the flag. Waiting for the flag to drop. There it is. Unofficial time of 7:07 for the Radcliffe second varsity. They take the second varsity win. Here comes BU in second place. It's about a 12-second margin back to the Terriers as their flag pops up. And now Harvard Radcliffe's third varsity heads to the finishing stretch ahead of MIT's second varsity. Great performance for the Radcliffe 3V. MIT wraps things up, finishing in fourth place. Well, strong start for Harvard Radcliffe. A win for the 2V. The 3V beats the MIT 2V. The Beanpot first varsity race is coming up next on the Ivy League Digital Network.